Hey family, welcome back to Reclaiming the Throne. We need to have a serious conversation today. When political violence shakes this nation, when the dust settles and the media moves on, there's always one question that remains. Who really pays the price? And more importantly, who's going to stand with us when that bill comes due? Charlie Kirk's assassination has sent shockwaves through America's political landscape. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. Every time this country experiences political trauma, black communities feel the backlash first and hardest. They're calling it a tragedy now. They're demanding justice. But watch what happens next. Watch how quickly the conversation shifts from protecting political figures to controlling political dissent. And guess whose voices get silenced first in the name of public safety? This isn't conspiracy theory. This is American history repeating itself. Let's be real about what we've seen before. After the civil rights movement's most intense moments, what happened? Police militarization exploded. After Ferguson, what did we get? More surveillance on black activists than ever before. After every major disruption in this country, the response always seems to land heaviest on our shoulders. Now we're watching it happen again. Universities are already talking about tighter security. Politicians are calling for new restrictions on protests. Media outlets are debating who deserves protection and who needs to be controlled. And if you think this stops with college campuses, you're not paying attention. When they crack down on student voices, when they expand surveillance powers, when they redefine what counts as dangerous rhetoric, black communities become the testing ground. Notice something about how this story is being told. Charlie Kirk is being framed as a victim of political violence, which he absolutely was. His life mattered. His death was wrong. But ask yourself this: when black activists are harmed, when our leaders are targeted, when our voices are silenced, does the media show that same level of concern? Or do they dig into their past, question their methods, and suggest they somehow brought it on themselves? The way America responds to this tragedy will reveal everything about how America really feels about protecting political voices, especially when those voices look like ours. Here's what we need to prepare for. In the name of preventing future violence, we're going to see new restrictions on campus organizing, and guess which student groups will be monitored most closely? Enhanced surveillance on political movements, and guess which communities have always been watched most carefully? Expanded definitions of dangerous speech, and guess whose words have always been deemed threatening? This isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition. Every expansion of government power in the name of security eventually gets turned on us. Every new law designed to protect one group somehow ends up constraining another. And here's the part that's going to sting, but we need to say it. When the crackdown comes, don't expect the same people demanding justice for Charlie Kirk to stand up for us. Don't expect the same energy. Don't expect the same outrage. We've seen this movie before. The solidarity flows one way until it doesn't serve them anymore. The calls for unity disappear when unity means defending our right to speak truth to power. This is why we can't afford to be naive about what's coming. We can grieve for every life lost to political violence while still protecting ourselves from the aftermath. We can grieve for every life lost to political violence while still protecting ourselves from the aftermath. So what do? First, we acknowledge the tragedy without losing sight of our own vulnerability. We can condemn political violence while still recognizing that the response to that violence often becomes violence against us. Second, we pay attention to every new law, every new policy, every expansion of security powers that gets proposed in the coming weeks. Because what gets sold as protecting democracy often becomes the tool for suppressing our voices. Third, we organize defensively. We prepare our communities for increased scrutiny. We train our young people to navigate new restrictions. We build networks that can't be easily monitored or dismantled. We prepare our communities for increased scrutiny. We train our young people to navigate new restrictions. We build networks that can't be easily monitored or dismantled. But here's the most important thing we need to understand. This moment reveals something we've always known but sometimes forget. At the end of the day, we only have ourselves. Not because we don't want allies, not because we reject genuine solidarity, but because history has taught us that when the pressure gets real, when the stakes get high, when choosing sides has a cost, most people choose their own comfort over our liberation. That's not cynicism. That's wisdom earned through generations of disappointment. Which brings us to why we're really here today. Family, if this moment teaches us anything, it should teach us that we need each other now more than ever. Not just for solidarity, but for survival. When new surveillance programs target our activists, we need to be ready to protect them. When new campus restrictions limit our students, we need to be ready to support them. When new laws constrain our movements, we need to be ready to resist them together. This isn't about being separatist. This is about being realistic. We can build bridges while still building our own foundation. We can seek justice for all while still prioritizing protection for us. So here's what we need to do right now. Stay informed about every policy change that comes out of this tragedy. Document how new security measures affect our communities differently. Support Black-led organizations that are monitoring government overreach. Prepare our young people for a more restrictive political environment. But most importantly, we need to have each other's backs. When they come for one of us, they're coming for all of us. When they silence one voice, they're testing how much resistance they'll face for silencing more. We grieve for every life lost to political violence. We condemn every act of terrorism, regardless of who commits it or who suffers from it. But we also protect ourselves from becoming the scapegoats for America's inability to deal with its own political dysfunction. Charlie Kirk's death is a tragedy that will reshape American politics, but we can't let grief blind us to strategy. We can't let sympathy make us forget survival. We stand against political violence while preparing for political retaliation. We mourn the dead while protecting the living. We seek justice for all while prioritizing safety for us. Because at the end of the day, family, we only have ourselves. And that has to be enough. That will be enough. Stay sharp, stay together, stay ready. This is Reclaim the Throne. Until next time.